This is Banging on the Drum. It is another beautiful day in West Central Wisconsin, and welcome to episode 125 of Banging on the Drum. I think this episode is going to be called Packers Drop the Ball, but please remember to like, subscribe, download, share, share our yawns with the good people of the world. But as always, I'm your host, B-Dog, joined alongside our other host, M-Dog. And M-Dog, what did you think about that Packers-Raiders game tonight?
So that's a rough one. I feel like that's a game, even in a rebuilding or a down year, or like our team is young year that you need to win. That's a game we shouldn't ever really lose.
Yeah, it felt like they were giving us so many opportunities to win that one.
Yeah, I mean, so to be fair, we gave them so many opportunities to win it as well. I think that we didn't convert on games that or on drives that we should have, and just kind of ended up, pissing the bed. Like you just didn't do well enough to.
Yeah, it was definitely a defensive struggle in this game, and it didn't quite feel like it was because the defenses were great. I mean, Max Crosby was just an absolute nightmare for the Packers all day. But other than that, I mean, him getting heat on Jordan Love, it seemed like every time Jordan Love dropped back to pass, it just seemed like neither of the offenses could catch a rhythm at all. I mean, the Packers completely take Devontae Adams out of that game, which I guess that's going to go in one of the strengths. I didn't write that one down, but that seemed pretty impressive that they had to go to Jacoby Meyer every time they were going somewhere. But I'm just going to roll through this. This is going to be quick. I'm not going to do like what I normally do, but just to refresh the people driving in their car to work this morning. So game starts out, I mean, just an absolute shit burger. We go punt. Packers do on the third drive of the game, sustain like a pretty nice drive, 8 plays, 75 yards. Do you remember anything super memorable about that drive, Mike?
Nope. So I felt like early on in the game, we used the running game pretty effectively, and then not so much.
Yeah, it seemed like
the early part of the game, or like the first couple drives in the first quarter, we used it pretty effectively, and then I don't remember anything significant about the field goal drive.
Yeah, so
I don't even remember how we stalled out for sure.
So the significant thing in this was like Jordan Love's 39-yard run. So we go AJ Dillon for like 2 solid gains. It's like 2 5-yard runs, and then Jordan Love takes off for 39 yards. We get down the field. But yeah, and then we stall out on an incomplete pass over the middle, but then have to kick a field goal. But after that, the game goes punt, and then the Raiders sustain a good drive, 14 plays, 62 yards, and get a touchdown. But yeah, I mean, coming off just watching this game, like nothing is like super memorable about it. But yeah, they just strung a drive together. I don't remember any like big miscommunications in this one. Didn't really seem like we got gouged too much. Pretty sure this is the drive where they run like some sort of jet sweep, get a good gain off of it. But right after they score that touchdown, Packers come out. Love throws just a nasty interception.
One of the ugliest picks you'll ever see.
Yeah, I mean, just
so the quarterbacks around the league have done that forever, just throwing it right to a dude. But it's atrocious when you see it coming from like somebody else or when Love is doing it. It was a bad one.
Yeah, and first play, it just seemed like he stared a guy down. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm not like X's and O's type dude, but it looked like he looked at one place only and then just did not see a linebacker that seemed like he
was there the whole time.
Yeah, so yeah, throws it right to him. But to the Packers' credit, they could have got a lot worse. They hold the Raiders to a field goal there, driving them back a yard on that. So they hold them to -1 yard. Raiders kick a field goal. Then we go into half. I guess another cool thing that the Packers did was had Josh Neiman block that field goal going into halftime.
Yep.
So I mean, the defense was playing pretty damn good. So
I would argue that the defense played very well tonight. Now there were some play calls. I think that you probably could have held this team to 10, if you don't do some stupid shit. Or maybe, I mean, let's put it back at 14. So you could have held them to 14 is that what they would have ended? No, it would have been 13, right? If they don't score the touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, they lined up in what is essentially a prevent defense at the 10. Everybody was at least 7 yards off the ball, and then your 2 safeties were standing in the end zone. It was like the easiest, like, oh, let's run a slant here to get down to the 2, and they just got into the end zone.
Yeah, no, it seemed like pretty bad play calling. And I mean, when we get into like strengths, weaknesses, and stuff like that, like play calling was definitely interesting on some of the things. But we'll get into the second half here. So first drive of the second half, Packers pick off the Raiders, and they actually capitalize on it. This was a drive where they just leaned everything on Dillon. Like if you look at the drive recap, it was Dillon. Yeah. And Dillon finished off that drive with.
And then they kind of stopped using him after that too. Like they just didn't use him in the same way following that drive.
Yeah, and they used him weird too because I can't think of for the life of me. I should have probably looked it up because I kept thinking it all game long. But it's not like an I formation, but just your like normal pro set, I guess, with no fullback. Obviously, like the whole league doesn't use fullbacks for the most part now. But
Right.
when Love was under center, and it was just like the standard handoff, like stretch runs or like just right
Yeah.
up the middle, like giving Dylan a little bit of head of steam seemed to be working real well. Like I think if you look at those plays, those are the plays he's averaging 4 or 5 yards carry. And I'll pull it up later, but I want to say he ended up averaging like 3 point something yards per carry. But I feel like that's because we were running some weird draws on pretty obvious running situations. Like we were running out of the shotgun
Yep.
when they knew we were running. Where I feel like sure you can do that, but the way like we were set up and the way we were rolling with, like I said, like the just standard setup quarterback under center, I don't get why you switch to keep running the ball in a draw situation. Like it just seemed pretty stupid not to give Dylan a head of steam because he was running fucking hard today. And that
Yep.
was super good to see. Um, but yeah, I forgot where I was there. So we scored that touchdown on the back of Dylan, force
Yep.
a punt, go down the field. This is the one where we had the big play to Christian Watson stall out that drive on, like what I said, it because we run Dylan or no, do we go straight for 77 yards. Okay. Yeah. But anyways, we get the 77-yard play and then we do two draws to
Yep.
Dylan. And then we have a 3rd and 4. I thought it was longer than that, but anyways, incomplete pass to Romeo Dobbs. I can't remember if that was like one of the drops. I don't even think that was. End up having to kick field goal. So that was a big turning point in the game. I think. I mean, you get a touchdown there. Is it a tie game?
It would be no, it
Yeah,
would have been
yeah.
17-10 or
I mean, it would have been 17-10. Yeah, you're
yep.
100% right. But yeah, get that field goal. So Raiders stand on their head there. And then they come out, they score a touchdown, go up 17-13. And then it was just all dog shit on out. Love throws 2 more interceptions. Second one, I mean, you
It's
like
bad
the
enough.
it was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's bad enough that like you're throwing it into traffic and the ball gets popped up. That's on the quarterback, I think. When the ball gets popped up like that, there's nothing you can do to prevent an interception. So
Yeah.
you can't put it above their head and let the defender knock that down, right?
Yeah. So yeah, bad interception there. Defense holds strong again with a 3-and-out, holding the Raiders to -3 yards. Offense gets the ball back. We go 3-and-out, punt that one away. And then the Raiders have an 8-play, 33-yard drive with a missed field goal in there, which was kind of an interesting. I don't know. I was so happy when I seen them lining up to kick a field goal because I was like,
Oh yeah.
they can ice this game right now. And they were just giving us a shot. And then sure as shit, they missed the field goal too. And I was like, fuck, we're gonna fuck around and win this game if we put
Yeah.
one more good drive together. And we couldn't do it. So started out looking promising. Then we had 2 or 3 drops, at least 2 drops in
For
that.
sure for two that were like 8 yard, like so it would have been 2nd and 2 and then 3rd and 2, right?
Yep. Dobbs
And then
dropped one, then Musgrave
so
dropped one right afterwards.
yeah, and so you put I mean for me, what happened a lot in this game is we put Love into situations where he had to perform, and that's not a good recipe for the Packers having success.
Yeah, not this year so far. But yeah, he ends up chucking it deep on a 3rd and 10, gets intercepted, ends the game. So it does seem like Love enjoys going deep,
I,
even when it's 3rd and 10, which I don't mind. I'm not saying I mind that, but like it was kind of like, why did we go all or nothing on a 3rd and 10 when we still had like a minute left in the game, or maybe 44 seconds, like whatever it was. But
yeah, so I think that that's like a holdover from McCarthy era Packers offensive play calling is that once a quarter you like go deep, like once a quarter you like throw the deep ball and see what happens. In a lot of cases, especially early on in Aaron's career, it worked out, and I feel like it's not working out hardly at all with Jordan Love currently. Now we're only 5 games in. That flip could switch real quick. You hit 3 of those in 3 different games, and we'll all be praising his deep ball. And the one hit Watson right in the hands, and he dropped it. The
yeah,
coverage was tight, but like that hits him in the hands. I think Watson has a game that he needs to learn from. One hits him in the hands. One falls like a little bit short of where he's at, maybe like 3 yards, and he needs to cut that back hard and fight for the ball. And if you fight for the ball, you're going to get a pass interference call there, right? Because the guy's going to try to stop you, like going through the body. Same with that last pick in the end zone, where that kind of sealed the game for the Raiders. Like instead of floating back, you need to be like kind of moving towards the ball and moving in front of him. And he's either going to grab you and try to stop you. So you're probably 4 inches taller than that dude. Just go get in front of him, get higher than him, and make him either make contact with you and put us at the 1 and or catch the football. Knock it down. You got to do something. So I think Watson's has an opportunity to really learn some things from this tape if we like look at it like that. And he looked visibly upset at the end of the game. His head was down, his hands, his face was in his hands. I'm hoping he's thinking, man, I fucked up there, right? That can get solved. I think he's a good wide receiver. I don't like enjoy the fact that he fucked up. I think that's an opportunity for us to get better. Is him realizing he has to be a different type of dude when he's on the field.
Yeah, no, that was a good catch on your part. Like there was that deep ball that you mentioned where it seemed like he should have even came back for the ball, draw that pass interference or whatever, or even
Catch the
I,
ball, like go
yeah,
back and catch the ball, like just get to where the ball is. And
yeah,
I get that that's harder to like do than it is to say, but if you fight back towards that ball and like chase that ball, I think that there's good opportunity there.
yeah. It almost looked like pass interference without him even having to do that. But like
Yeah.
then he just like walked it off. Like like the ball hit the ground and he just like was like, fuck this,
Yep.
I'm out.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, like
Yep.
yeah. But I think he was pretty frustrated. But you ready to get into the SWAT here? And I'm sure
Yep.
we'll double tap some points, hopefully find some other points. So we're gonna start with our strengths. Obviously it was our defense was pretty damn good today. We end up with I don't even know how many sacks do you think we ended up with in this game, Mike?
Oh man, I got it up. I think if I want to
Because
look.
yeah, because Gary, so we end up 4 sacks. Kenny Clark gets a big sack, Rashawn Gary gets a sack, Preston Smith gets a sack, Kingsley Mbari gets a sack. So the sacks were kind of spread all around in this game. Um, yeah, I mean, now it makes me remember Quay Walker went down pretty early in this game, so that didn't help. But that
And then
shouldn't.
about halfway through, we lost Savage as well, which doesn't help.
Yeah, but anyways, that shouldn't be in the strengths department. But our pass
Nope.
rush looked pretty solid. Rudy Ford comes away with with an interception in this one, second interception of the year. He seems to be pretty opportunistic back there, hawking the
Yep.
ball a little bit. Keyshawn Nixon looks like he likes to tackle, so that's kind of cool to see when he's on the field. Is you're not losing like something in a tackler. Where I felt like I said, our defense is our strength here, but Jair Alexander does not look like he wants to tackle people, and I don't remember that last
Yeah.
year at all. It like seemed like he was like a pretty good tackler, but he did have an opportunity. Granted, it was their big tight end. I can't remember who their
Mayor.
mayor,
He's a rookie.
but yeah, he was like kind of coming over the middle. I mean, it was like kind of the left hash, but it looked like Alexander had him like
Wanted
in
nothing
the
to do with him.
crosshairs. Like, well, it looked like he should have lit him up and tried to like jar the ball loose, but he just kind of like let him catch it and then like
Yeah.
tackled him. Like, but yeah, and there was like another play I think when Josh Jacobs was running down the field, but whatever, smaller guy.
Versus a
He,
giant, right? Jacobs is a pretty huge dude.
yeah, and like what we were saying, whatever they did to Devontae Adams was working very well because yeah, he'll be happy that the Raiders came away with a W against his old team, but he did not do much in terms of getting the ball to help that. He did have 4 catches for 45 yards, which
One of them
I
was against Preston Smith, which is like that's the part of the defense that drives us all crazy. Is that Preston Smith gets lined up against maybe the best route runner in the league?
yeah. Yeah, I
Like
mean,
it just doesn't make any sense.
just some weird stuff out there, but they definitely had a lead on Jacoby Meyer for the most
Who
part
had
there.
who had a nice game?
Yeah. Yeah, he was making all the first down catches, got the touchdown catch for them. But yeah, defense looked damn solid aside from covering Devontae Adams with Preston Smith for a play there. But
Yep.
other than that, for strengths, AJ Dillon was running his ass off out there. He's been getting a lot of shit from Packers.
Us.
Yeah, us Packers
Everybody.
Twitter. And yeah, he kind of looked like he was going out there to have a game to shut us up. He got 20 carries today, 76 yards. I think if we kept running him out of the single set QB under center, there's got to be an easier word than me just keep saying that shit over and over again. But if we kept
We get
running
what
him,
you mean, though.
yeah, if we kept running him like that with a head of steam, I think he was going to average 4 yards a carry. And we could have fed him the ball a little bit more, but he ends up with 76 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, and our only touchdown there. And did you have any other strengths from this game, Mike?
No, so I would like to reiterate the AJ Dillon side of it. I thought he was a strength, and I think that establishing your running game, even if he has like 12 or 13 carries for like 25 yards to start the game, like I thought it was obvious in the second half that they didn't want to deal with the run anymore. Like their defense was like, man, this is getting fucking old to tackle this guy, right? And so if you keep pushing him out there and like banging heads with him, the defense is going to break at some point. And I don't understand like with two running back. Generally, we have two running backs, and we had Emmanuel Wilson out there too. Like you didn't have to run a guy that was tired if you thought uh, Dylan was getting tired. You had both Patrick Taylor and Emmanuel Wilson. I don't understand why we didn't have 35 touches to the backs this game. But I did think that getting 20 to Dylan was very positive. Usually we sit around 11 or 12 total. So
Yeah, I mean they were wearing him out. And
yep.
that's a good point. Like if he was tired, because they were not giving anybody else the ball. I mean Patrick Taylor did have 2 carries, but
Yep.
like they were not rotating our backs out
Wilson and
at
nope,
all.
Wilson
Like
wasn't in there at all.
and Patrick Taylor's carry, I think it was a first down carry, and it was like third down back.
Third,
The
yeah, like it was an
classic,
expected pass play, like 3rd and 4 or something like that.
yeah, like Tony Fisher type third down back was like it was. I mean, it was kind of
Yep.
like old school. Like we had the bell cow, and then we had the third down guy that can catch the ball a little bit better. Um, but yeah, that's all I got for strengths in this game because this game was pretty piss poor for the most part. So that
Yep.
that is like a pretty positive spin. So we'll go to the weaknesses here, and there is a ton more weaknesses in this week. So just slow starts offensively has just been crippling us, and we're not going to beat any good teams if we keep coming out the gate like this.
Right. 100%.
Yeah, so that's that. Love hasn't looked good. Yeah, he didn't look too good last week. He did not look good at all today. I mean, like
He
we
threw
said,
3 picks, and I think they were all on him. I mean, so the
yeah,
last one I get, like, you're trying to do something special there. You did have Watson open for a split second, but that's still on him. Like, if you want to put that in a spot that only Watson can get it, you put it higher, and if he misses it, it goes out of the end zone, and then we have 4th down maybe yet to try to get 10 yards. I think
yeah,
that was 3rd down.
yeah. It was 3rd and 10. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is it has to be on him because it didn't.
Yep.
It wasn't like 4th down. Okay, no time left on the clock. Like he took the shot that he wanted to take. Like we
Yeah.
still had time. He could have hit someone for 5 yards. He could have hit someone for 10 yards, but decided to go for the gold. I mean, if it pays off, obviously we're saying different shit, but it didn't. It was the 3rd pick of the game. Then another weakness, just odd play calling in some situations. Like we said, they had the big
That
bomb,
happened more early in the game than it did late in the game, I think.
but I think the worst one was the worst series of play calls was after we hit the 77-yard bomb to Watson, and then we decided to run 2 draws back to back and end up leaving that drive with a field goal. Because I mean, if we score a touchdown there, we have 17. So at the very least, I mean, I think the game's different after that, but
Puts more pressure on Oakland or Las Vegas at the very least.
yeah, and I mean, then we have a score of 17-17 right now. But whatever. If what is it? Shoulda, woulda, coulda. If all what's, buts, and butterflies were on a tree, whatever. There is some better saying than that. But yeah, odd calls. And then I got drops on here. So Watson's deep ball, Dobbs, Musgrave on a drive that we had to have dropping at least a 1st down between the two of them. Because I want to say Dobbs was like a 2-yard out, which would have made it like 3rd and 2. Which then on the very next play, we go to the right side. Musgrave drops it there, and his looked like he would have clearly got the 1st down if he didn't do it. But yeah, I don't know where the drops show up in the stats. I don't know if they like reevaluate them and then like they come in the next day. But ESPN,
I think generally,
ESPN doesn't put them up there right away.
So I mean, like the 1-2 great Musgrave is not a perfect throw, right? It's not a perfect throw. Like it's a little bit behind, but that's a ball that needs to be caught. And I think if you have a 4th-year tight end, that's a catch every time. And just with a rookie tight end, it's not the way it goes. Like it's a 50-50 ball with a rookie tight end. Where with like a Mark Andrews or a Travis Kelce or a George Kittle, like that's a ball they catch.
Yeah,
and obviously those guys are superstars. So like I get what you're saying. Like, oh, he might never be that. I understand that, but like guys that have been in the league and stay in the league, they catch that ball.
Yeah. But yeah, drops. And then this one was a big one for me that I think messed up a lot of stuff. Like Tucker Kraft's blocking was super bad. They basically brought him in to block, and he whiffed on 2 big blocks. One I want to say was on an end around. One was just to be like the extra guy to chip Max Crosby, where Crosby just beat him and got a sack. And then the
came
other
around behind the play and still stopped. I think that's Taylor's 2nd run.
Yeah, it was.
And he came around behind the play and got to the running back and stopped him for a loss. Not even like a 1-yard gain, like a loss. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, and I mean, to his credit, dude, it's just an animal. I hate that guy. I hate him even more after this game. But
yeah. Oh, wait, so you hated him before this game? Like, I don't think he's wrecked anything for the Packers.
No, so he's just very. I mean, he ended up getting that penalty, and I think it's a reputation call. But he's just that guy. Like, I mean, he's the guy that you would love to have on your team, but you hate to play against. He always does the extra thing. Like, he always hits somebody and like.
Let's talk about that penalty because Zach Tom just straight flopped on that penalty.
Yeah, right? But like, I think it's almost a reputation call though for Crosby on top of it though. Like I think they know when you watch back shit. Like he's always the guy that hits the quarterback like and gets away with it. Like just light enough. Like he's always gives you that little bit of extra. But I mean that's his edge. Like he's great. And I think that's part of it is that he pisses people off.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys in the league like that they're like, he's dirty. But like if he was on your team, like there was a Jensen, I think, that played for Tampa Bay that was like a guard or a tackle. And I would have loved that guy as a Packer. Hated that guy.
Yeah.
And then Ndamukong Suh, I would have loved if he would have ever been a Packer. He would have been maybe my favorite player of all time. Like that guy, I enjoyed the way that guy played, except when he was stomping on Aaron Rodgers' ankles and shit like that. But
kicking someone in the nuts too. I don't think it was Bakhtiari, but we had our dude Marco Rivera. I want to say was the guy that people would be like, yeah, he twists dicks at the bottom of the pile, like tries to break fingers and shit like that. Like he's just nasty. But
and if it's not Marco Rivera, like we apologize to Marco for saying that you were a dirty player. But I'm sure I would prefer to have more guys like that. Like 2 or 3 guys that are just little chippy, like
that don't mind speeding. They'll keep speeding until they get a ticket.
I like the way you put that. Don't mind speeding, even when they get a ticket. It's like fuck them, I'll do it again. I don't care, right?
But yeah, and that's our short list of weaknesses. I mean, there's probably more that we could have found in there. Um, but I don't know if you got anything you want to tack onto that one.
No, I don't think so. I think so. I think there's some. I think the defensive players are very good, right? And our defensive play calling puts them in bad situations sometimes. I think that's
Yeah,
the way I'm starting to look at our defense is that we're playing good enough defense to like win games, and I think it's despite the way the defensive play calling is.
yeah, and we've kind of been a little bit of Joe Barry apologists on the
Yep.
last like two episodes or so, but there is something
There's
going
something
on
going
that
on where like
seems
if I'm
stupid.
noticing like a play call set up goofy, like and then we were so I called out the one where we were on the 10 and they're like playing prevent defense basically. There's another one where they're on like the 3 and he's only got like 2 or 3 defensive linemen in. Like I don't understand that. Like instead of putting in your pass rushers, right? You could have like Clark and Brooks and like all your big dudes right up front and just like going after them.
Yeah,
We get a good enough push with guys like Clark and Brooks that you could probably I want to say there's a Slayton on the defensive line and I'm missing a big one. Devontae White. Like you could put all 5 of those guys up there instead of having 3 and 2 and just be like, all right, try to run it on us now. And they don't do that. Like they back the linebackers up and they just do like silly shit.
yeah, it seems like a lot of overthinking. And then on top of it though, like when I was watching this, it seems like they didn't get what they want, and then they're like, "Fuck it!" Like those are the guys that are out there. Like let's just roll with it. Like it felt like that on
Yeah.
offense too. Sometimes, like it
Yeah.
just doesn't feel like a very well coached team right now. But I don't like to get. I mean, obviously we put in the
We don't know that. Like, I don't know that stuff. Like that, like, oh my God, the defense is fucking atrocious. Like, I don't know how to make the defense better besides like, I don't know, move up 3 steps. Like you can't be that far back on
yeah,
3rd and 1. Like that's my analysis, but I just don't understand. Like, you're not going to get burnt deep, especially by like a Jimmy G type guy. And even like Devontae Adams isn't the guy that burns you deep. Like he's made some like long throws, but he like that's not what his game. That's not his strength. His
yeah,
strength is like
route
juking a
running.
guy out of his freaking boots in the first 5 yards, and he's wide open.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, it definitely seems like something needs to give. Like it seems like there's something wrong in the coaching.
But I don't know that you can change what's going unless you fire him today. And there's no reason to fire him today. Like his defense held up just fine. Preston Smith on Devontae Adams, maybe that's a reason to fire him. But unless you fire him today, you can't change that defense at any point this season. Like you can't install any type of like this is how we're going to do it. You could take play calling ability away from Joe Barry. Maybe he can design a defense and he just can't play call inside the game. Like you could take that away. I'm not sure, but like I don't know if that's ever been the case where an offensive or defensive coordinator doesn't call the plays unless the head coach is calling the plays.
yeah, I couldn't tell you, but yeah, it doesn't seem like that odd of a thing to me to have like the guy who designs your offense and then the guy who runs your offense. But
No,
it,
that makes sense in my brain. However, I don't know that I've ever heard about something like that.
yeah, no, I don't know.
Like this dude doesn't even call plays; he just makes the plays. Like that'd be weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I don't think that's how it operates. I think you could operate like that. But
I
yeah,
think you could. Yep.
anyways, to me, it just seems like overthinking. Like it's guessing before the play, and then whereas you're guessing what the offense is going to do, where they can adjust and not do that. Where I think you want to have your defense make them. You want to make the offense not do what they initially wanted to do, or I guess that seems like counterintuitive, but like I think you press them when it's 3 yards. So then they're like, well, shit, we're gonna press here. Maybe we're gonna switch to a run, but then you kind of stack in the run, like, and then they're gonna be like, well, the offensive play to beat this is gonna be to go deep, but then you're just bringing so much pressure that they don't have time to go deep, but type deal. Where it seems like
Yeah.
we're like, I think they're gonna run a crossing route over the middle, so let's cover a crossing route over the middle. And like they're like, well, we were gonna do that, but if they're gonna let us run it, like,
Yeah.
or do like a short stick route, we'll just do that instead. But
It does. It does feel like the Packers have decided we'll give up 4 yards a play all game and just like see what happens. And you can't do that, right? Like you can't give up 4 yards because 4 yards equals 12 and 3, and then it's first down every time. I don't feel like we're getting big chunk plays taken out of us very often. It just seems like teams can methodically move the sticks 6 minutes at a time and get down into the red zone, kick a field goal, or score a touchdown.
yep. All right, let's get off weaknesses here. So
Yep.
opportunities. I felt like the way Dylan ran the ball today, it sets us up to use larger sets and just run the ball. Like give love the first season that guys who have been very successful in the league have gotten.
Yeah, 15
You're,
pass attempts, 20 pass attempts. Like no,
yeah,
35.
yeah, your Tom Brady's early in their career, your Ben Roethlisberger early in his
Yep.
career. Like give these guys a chance to grow. Russell Wilson, I want to say they were just running the shit out of the ball. So I think that's a good opportunity. And that being said, if Aaron Jones can come back, that's a huge opportunity. That's our best offensive weapon, and he would just help what I already just said. We'll have our lightning thunder, our running back
Yep.
that can catch the ball. And I guess another opportunity, we play the Broncos next week. So definitely an opportunity to get right, get back to 500. And I don't think the Packers are ever going to be in the I can't even think what it's called. Flop, not flop, but
Think.
tank. Yeah, they're not going to tank this season. So still very young team. Won a couple games, showed some heart. I think there's a lot of talent on this team, and like we've been saying, I'm going to say it probably every show. It's kind of playing with house money this year, seeing if Love is the guy for the team, and seeing if we can move forward with Love going forward. Threats, I just love taking a step back. I still think he's good. He made a couple throws. I mean, we counted at least 3 drops, so that turns 16 for 30 into 19 for 30. Maybe not have to press and throw
And probably over
one
200
of those.
yards then too, if they get those 3 catches.
Yeah. Well, I
At
mean,
least
definitely.
3.
Yeah, definitely. With the one, I mean, it's a tough catch that Christian Watson dropped, but especially with that one, that's a 40-yard play right there, or whatever, 30-yard play. And then another threat is just guys not coming back from injury. I guess we know Bakhtiari's not coming back. Quay Walker, however long he's going to be down. Campbell, yep. Yeah, I mean, we had our 2 second-string middle linebackers playing the majority of this game. Jones, which we kind of thought was going to be back, was not back. So those are the big threats. But we're done with a quarter of the season, Mike. And how would you rate this team? Let's not go position by position, but just a overall grade for this Packers team, young Packers team.
So I'm going to give them
quarter.
Yeah, I'm going to give them like the grades that I got in high school, which C- pretty consistently. So they're not executing things well. They set themselves behind the 8 ball by not producing early in games. I think even in the Bears game, like I think we only had 10 points in the first half, and then we scored 28 in the second half, or something along those lines. We just need to be more consistent, and I don't know that it's the talent level, right? I think talent is high across the board, especially defensively, and then offensively, I think that we have the playmakers in the building, and I think our offensive line is good, but everything that we're doing feels not relaxed. And I think if you're playing unrelaxed football and you're like pressing everything, nothing gets anywhere. I get that, like we've had struggles running the ball and stuff like that. I think you need to run the ball more often. I think you could have taken 5 of those throws from Jordan Love early in that game and given those 5 carries to AJ Dillon, and it would have been just fine. And I could be mistaken on that kind of stuff, but run the ball more. Defense, make the plays that are in front of you. Savage, if he gets his hands up on that play that he got injured, and maybe that's why he doesn't get his hands up. Like I get that. You probably have a pick, right? There's another one where like it bounced off Douglas's hands. I think you need to make I'd like our defense to operate more like Dallas's defense does. Like figure out how to make the huge play. I get that sometimes Dallas gets burned deep, but like it costs them. But I'd rather see like an exciting brand of defense than like the shit that they can't. Like it's just like slow paper cuts to death, right?
Yeah.
Right. I'd rather just get my head chopped off and be done with it to some extent.
Yeah, I get some of the playmaking associated with that. And then, I mean, Dallas is a rough example just with what San Francisco
did.
Yeah.
Right. But like their defense is super opportunistic.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see, I don't know, like a quarter of that from the Packers at least.
No, I like that. Yeah, no, and I think that's a good grade. C minus. That Saints game was a great win. Second half game. Took care of the Bears like they should have, but could have beat Atlanta. We're in this game tonight. And the only game they really got their ass handed to them was Detroit. And
who's going to be very good. I think my biggest disappointment with the way that the season has unfolded for us so far is that not that even that we're going to be getting losses and stuff like that, because I kind of expected that to be part of the deal this year is that we get losses. But like so the Bears play the Vikings, so we're going to be tied with one of those motherfuckers in the division. And like, I think we're better than both those teams. And honestly, I think we're better than the Raiders. I think we're better than Atlanta. And we just haven't come up with wins there.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with that. I think,
and that comes all down to the consistency. You need to figure. So as coaching goes, we need to figure out how to make our players more consistent. And I don't know how, like you do that necessarily.
Yeah. No, I mean they grow, they get better, they're young. So I think it comes naturally. I think they win a game like this, they build confidence off that.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, so I was thinking about the whole game and I was like, oh, I wonder what I'm gonna grade them, like depending on what comes out of this game. I think if they even won this game at the end, like they took that last drive down there.
And won it. Okay. Yeah. So like that's the only difference is Watson catches that ball versus the Raider, whoever caught it.
Yeah. I think at the highest you go C there. And I think it still should have been a C minus because that's just kind of pulling a game out of your ass
and that's kind of what the Saints game was too. Now, however, the Falcons pulled the game out of their ass to beat us.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. So maybe it takes from a C minus to a C. But yeah, they've been in every game but the Detroit game. So that's a fair grade to me. But let's roll on to this Badgers game and let's do the Badgers game a little bit quicker. I'm not going to
Yeah,
recap the whole thing.
let's do it a lot bit quicker.
Yeah, we will.
Sorry.
So yeah, I'm not going to recap the whole thing going down. So Badgers end up winning this one in Camp Randall, 24-13. Never really dealt in this game. Badgers take a 17-0 lead going into halftime. The only quarter they ever get outplayed in is the third quarter, where Rutgers scores a touchdown there, and then the fourth quarter, each team got a touchdown. So like I said, Badgers won this one 24-17. The only thing I could say that was like a big turning point is I want to get the guy's name that picked it off. Interception return for a touchdown. Ricardo Hallman, 95-yard interception return for a touchdown. So that could have made this game a lot closer going into halftime. I mean, I guess it would have made it 7-10. So 14-point swing right there. Which whatever, that made this game just never a doubt the whole way through. As for stats in this game, Braylon Edwards ends up getting 21 carries for 101 yards and a touchdown, which we were kind of calling for. Jackson Aker looks like a bruiser. He is a big dude that runs hard. So
I believe he was a fullback last year.
Okay.
In our traditional sets is what I heard on the radio. So.
Okay, because yeah, he was a stud. Like he looked like he's going to be hard to tackle. Madison boy through and through. Yep. Another big thing that I saw in the Badgers game though too is when we were trying to go to our weapons, we had quite a few drops to also some tough balls. I think it's Ashcraft. Yeah, he ended up catching a touchdown, but he dropped
right before that. He dropped a big play. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and then they went back to him for a touchdown. But this being, playing a pretty subpar opponent, I would say. Wisconsin kind of handled them like they should have been. I think, if I was going to go strengths, we ran the ball better again. Weaknesses, I feel like we should have handled Rutgers a little bit more handily than we handled them. Yep. And that's with a huge defensive touchdown, 14-point swing in there. So yeah, it could have been better. And that's kind of what I got for you. Mordecai seemed to look fine. I mean, he was 17-31, 145 yards and a touchdown. But like I said, there was a few drops in there.
And he uses his legs really effectively.
Yeah, he was running the ball pretty well. 11 runs, 50 yards, picking up first downs, running in smart situations. Just, looks like what we expected him to be able to do is, just be that smart senior, veteran leadership on this team. And it looks good. So good game from the Badgers. Could have been better, I would say.
Yeah, so I think opportunity is that this is an opportunity for the coaching staff to, over the next 2 weeks, it's kind of like we're ramping up our opponents, right? So like we get Iowa, who might be second best out of these three, but you get Iowa, a tough team. You get a little bit of a drawback, but still a tough team in Illinois, and then you're going to get Ohio State. So this is an opportunity over the next 3 weeks to kind of change our focus into beating the high end teams. And I think that's really our opportunity, is like to grow over these next two and really put in like a good competitive game against Ohio State. That would be awesome if we could figure that out.
Yeah, it is at Camp Randall, so
it's a better opportunity. It's just still not a good one. No opportunity against Ohio State for us has been good in the last, 12 years, I'll say. 2010, we might have had good opportunities against Ohio State. And then I think our threats is that if we play like we have in the first 6 weeks of the season, I know one of those is a bye, but we're gonna have a tough time getting through Iowa. We're gonna probably struggle against Illinois, and Ohio State's gonna rout us. So Iowa and Illinois are still winnable games, even if we play like this. However, Ohio State is not winnable if you're gonna play like a mediocre game. And so I just feel like we need to grow in the next 2 weeks in order, and like those are good teams to grow against because they're essentially like your Washington State type teams. At least Iowa is. Illinois probably not so much, but Iowa's a plus team, like just about every year, and their defense is always good. So give us an opportunity to test our offensive prowess.
Yeah, and Illinois is not what they were last year. I don't know what changed with Illinois. I'll definitely look into it.
I think they had some defensive studs on that Illinois. Didn't 2 of them get drafted in the first round? Weatherspoon was from there, right?
That could be. I want to say too that they had a old quarterback as well. Like okay. I think the quarterback has changed because their quarterback right now is Luke Altmaier. So yeah, I think they lost a lot of talent. So because they are 2-4 this year, so I'm not even putting them in the same category as Iowa right now. And that
doesn't sound good, right?
Yeah, that's another team the Badgers should handle. I mean, Purdue beat Illinois 44-19, and Purdue's not a very good team this year. Right. So
okay.
But yeah, Iowa come up. But yeah, this game I would say showed some promise. Like we established the run early, and then we built off that. I think that's what we're gonna have to do to beat Iowa. It's gonna be kind of. I mean, I know we have a new offense, but like just classic Big Ten football. Like it seems like this game's gonna be 17-13, 14-12, something weird or some shit like that. A blocked field goal, but I am excited for it. I do think whoever wins this game between Wisconsin and Iowa is back in the rankings, and then is in the driver's seat for the Big Ten West representative in the Big Ten championship. So yeah, lots of opportunity there. But yeah, that's all we'll do for the Wisconsin game this week. But yeah, and then also we kind of have a scheduling change, so I think we're just going to be doing recap shows. We'll see what it changes because it is fun to preview them. But so we're going to be doing our 6-pack and a pound. We're going to do our picks over basically Twitter alone, but we'll do the little bit of recap right here. So we're going to have to be shotgun on Sunday nights. That'll be good. That'll wake us up. But anyways, I whooped Mike's ass this week, going 6-1, hitting my pounded game, hit my double dog, and racking up the Bing Bongs for the best week. Give a shout out to Keel though. He tweeted at us, and I think he didn't put 7 games, so that's his one knock. He didn't do a pounded game, but he was 6 for 6 in his picks this week and hit his double dog, so that was pretty cool. But Mike, you went 3-4, but you did hit your pounded game, and you ended up plus 100 on the week. So we were both positive. So now I think my total Bing Bongs through the first quarter of the season is 1,000, and I want to say you are right around negative 1,000. So you still got plenty of time to get back in this.
Oh, I'll be winning this baby by the end of the season. I got no doubts in my mind. I'm going to be the Packers. Start out slow and just kill it at the end.
So you brought a sun drop to the party. Okay.
I did. I'm ready to go. Well, I'm not ready. I'm only kind of ready.
All right. Well, Mike's getting ready. Yeah, that's going to be the change. So my schedule got a little bit busier. And it's just going to be hard to do twice a week at this point. But Mike is ready to rock. He pulls it back. He cracks it. He's looking good. He's got good form this week. Oh, he is sucking that thing down. That a boy, Mike. You crushed that. It didn't even look like your cowboy face is getting a little bit worse right now.
Oh, it's coming right now. I can feel it in the eyeballs.
Yeah.
Now I won't be able to sleep either. We should do that at the beginning of the episode so that at least I can let it wear off. I'm still pretty angry about the Packer game, so
no,
matter too much. But
we definitely are going to start doing them at the beginning.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it might be a little bit less of a punishment, but it's nice to get some like fire in one of us in these late nights that we do. But I think that's all we got for the show this week. Unless you got anything to add, Mike.
No, I don't. For anybody who's doubting the Brewers, the Badgers, the Bucks, or the Packers, you can eat our shorts.
And we love you.
Roll it.
All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shorts. All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shorts. Beat them. All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shorts. Eat my shorts.